Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm starting out my little peach journey for the year. You probably don't know this, or maybe you do, but I like to purchase a 25-pound box of peaches from the peach truck whenever they roll through town, and then challenge myself to see what all I can make out of them. So I get pretty creative every year. For this video today, I'm just following a recipe out of the Ball Book of Home Canning, or Home Preserving, whatever it's called. And I'm making homemade peach salsa that I canned. So stay tuned. It's a really great informative video, not too hard to do, and there's definitely a little bit of a learning curve, but no big deal, nothing we haven't done here before. So be sure to stay tuned, like this video if you enjoy it, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out, and I make a lot of fun videos here, so be sure to come back around. Anyway, I hope you enjoy today's video, and let's get to peaching. I'm thinking this is probably gonna turn into a little bit of a series because I have so many peaches. I'm gonna have to make a lot of different recipes, but today I'm gonna start out by making the peach salsa recipe out of the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. This is a canning guide, and since I'm not an expert in canning, I just started this year, I'm gonna follow this recipe to a T. I'm not gonna get creative at all. I'm just gonna follow exactly what it says to do. I can't post this recipe exactly, obviously, because that would be plagiarizing, but I will post a link to purchase this book below in the description box if you are interested. I've never tried this recipe. I have had peach salsa in the past and it was delicious, so I'm hoping it turns out something like that. All this has in it is vinegar, peaches, red onions, jalapenos, red bell peppers, cilantro, honey, garlic, cumin, and cayenne pepper. So 10 items. And it makes eight 8-ounce jars. So I just got back from Ace Hardware from purchasing my 8-ounce jars. I'm gonna start out by sanitizing these. I'm just gonna put them in some hot soapy water in the sink while I prep everything else. Here we go. So the first step, we're gonna get out a large saucepan. You can see here I have it out. And now we have to peel and pit our peaches, which I have experience with from last year. There is a tip in here that says to go ahead and measure out the vinegar for the next step of the process while you're preparing the peaches so that the peaches don't brown. So I am gonna start out by doing that. So I need a half cup of white vinegar. I've got my water coming to a simmer, and I've also prepared a bowl of ice water. So what I'm gonna do is cut X's in the top, which I'll show you here in just a second. I'm gonna drop them in the water for 2 minutes in the simmering water. Then I'm gonna take them out with my spider, put them in the ice water, and then the skins just peel right off. While we wait on the water to simmer, I'm gonna go ahead and prep the rest of the vegetables. So I'm gonna start by chopping up a 1.25 cups of red onions. The water's simmering, so we're ready to get started on the peaches. I know the lighting is terrible over here, but it's what we got to work with right now. So what we're gonna do is take this peach and a sharp paring knife, and you're just going to score an X, just barely cutting through it in the top. I don't know if you can even see what I did, but it's an X. And then you're just gonna plop it in the water. And do that to all of them. And we need about 6 cups of peaches for this recipe. So I'm just guessing, because you have to remember that there's a pit inside. I'm gonna start out with 4 in here at first and set a timer for 2 minutes. 2 minutes is up, so I'm gonna use my spider to transfer these over to the ice bath to cool down. And then I'm just gonna keep repeating this process until I've gone through all of the peaches I need for this recipe. Hope this doesn't overflow. Ooh, it was close. Okay. Now for the jalapenos. I stole some of my husband's fish cleaning gloves because I'm actually mildly allergic to jalapenos and spicy peppers. They make my throat itch really bad, so unless they're cooked. Once they're cooked, I'm fine. But I'm gonna use these, especially so I don't touch my eyes after I cut them up. But these just need to be finely chopped, and I'm actually gonna seed them because of the spice factor. I'm kind of a wuss too. I survived. So now I just take them once they're done in the ice water and I put them on a cutting board. And then I'm gonna peel them all. And then we're gonna go through and chop them. Okay, you're lost in a sea of peaches. But look how easy the skins come off after you do that. They just peel right off. Easy cheesy. I'm gonna go through and do that to all of these, and then we're gonna chop them. Let's see how many cups I get out of this many. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 peaches. All I do to chop these is I just cut the cheeks off around the pit, and then I chop them up like that. And I'm gonna drop them into the vinegar in the pot next to me as I go to keep them from turning too brown. Pretty sure that was 6. Last but not least, chopped seeded red bell pepper. Last thing that needed chopping was a half cup of cilantro. So I got a phone call. So I did it without filming, but this is a 1/4 cup. So it just says loosely packed. So there's 1/4 cup. Roughly a half cup. I don't even like cilantro, but I'll eat it in salsa. All right, I think we're good to go. Putting this in the sink. So we're ready to start cooking the salsa now. All we need to do is take the vinegar and peaches, which I had to put them in a bigger pot because it ended up being a lot of stuff. And we need to dump in all the veggies we just chopped, which I'm not going to touch because of the jalapenos. We need 1 clove of minced garlic, which I'm just gonna use the jarred kind because I'm lazy. We need 1½ teaspoons of ground cumin. And a ½ teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which I just have chili pepper, and I think they are very similar. Should be fine. All right, we're gonna bring that to a boil. It's pretty and it smells good. I really don't know how this could be bad, honestly. This looks delicious. All right, this has come to a boil. So what I'm gonna do is turn down the heat to a simmer for about 5 minutes until this gets nice and thick. I rinsed off all my jars, so now what I'm doing is filling my clean sink up with some really hot water, and I'm just gonna put the jars back in the hot water to let them get hot so that whenever I start filling them with the salsa, they don't break. So we're hot packing these. So we need hot salsa and hot jars. I almost forgot to add in the honey, and I had exactly 2 tablespoons left. So I just dumped it in here, and we are getting really close to being ready to process these jars. All right, you can see this has gotten nice and thick, so we're ready to ladle it up. I like to use one of these padded placemats whenever I'm canning. I've seen this all over YouTube, but it's actually a really great hack so that you don't crack your jars. And then I've got my little jar filler, and I'm gonna sit my salsa over here off to the side on a trivet and get started filling my jars. We need to leave 1/2 inch headspace, which is about halfway up this lid line. All right, I'm gonna adjust my headspace just a little bit. Make sure we've got enough. Got about a 1/2 inch headspace on each of these guys, and we are ready to get to canning. So we're gonna water bath can these. While my canner fills up, I'm gonna use this bubble popper to go through and make sure there are no air bubbles in here to make sure that this stuff all stays good. So you basically just poke around with this. I'm also gonna go ahead and add my lids. So I need to go through and clean all the rims first using a little bit of white vinegar. And I'm just gonna screw the band on fingertip tight, which is just barely tightened with your fingers. Oops, gotta rewatch that. So we're water bath canning these, but I'm using my pressure canner pot because I don't have another pot big enough to do water bath canning. So all I'm doing is I've put hot water in here. I've got the water coming up to a boil, and I'm gonna go ahead and put the jars in here and need to make sure that all the lids are actually completely covered with water. They fit perfect. There they are, completely covered with water, and I'm just gonna let this come up to a boil. All right, we are a boiling. So what I'm gonna do is put a lid on this and set a timer for 15 minutes to process. The 15 minutes are up, so all we need to do now is turn the heat off. And then we're gonna remove the lid and let them sit in the hot water for 5 more minutes without the lid on. All right, my 5 minutes are up, so now all I have to do is remove the jars from the water, and I'm gonna sit them over here on a placemat for 12 to 24 hours to make sure that they seal. And you can just leave the water on the top alone, it will evaporate. If you mess with it, you could falsely seal the jar. So just leave it just like this. Alrighty, it is the next day and we are gonna do a seal check on all of my salsa. So let's check them out and see how they turned out. Let me move my mango. All right, all you do to check to see if they sealed is take the band off and hold them up by the lid. This one's sealed. This one's sealed. This one's sealed. Woohoo! 100% seal rate. That's pretty dang great. So what you're gonna wanna do whenever you store these is to store them without the band. Just like this, you can see it's fully sealed. And that's gonna make sure that you don't create a false seal if there were to be some spoilage in here. So always store your jars without the bands, or at least really loose bands if you are gonna put them on there, but I store them completely separate. There you go, peach salsa. So one big thing I realized I didn't do yesterday was taste the salsa. Stupid move, but I just opened up one of my jars and we're gonna taste test it. See what it tastes like. And put a little bit in a little bowl for a snack for myself. Let's try it with some chippies. This would be so good on fish tacos. Really good. Yummy. Can you see it? What a good snack. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe to my channel because it really helps me out. Stay tuned. I've got a lot more coming up for you here on Messin' with Meggie, and I'll see you soon. Bye.